In meditation, it's very, very good to see again and again how when we carry our some sort of expectation, some sort of desire, just when we carry anything personal into our spiritual practice, it almost becomes like a filter. It's just a blinding factor. Oftentimes we feel like, why am I perhaps not understanding or going deeper into this sort of seeing, which is supposed to be more natural and effortless. But it's because we're not willing to ease away, at least for a moment's time, from all the personal stuff. Like, let's say right now, right? All of us are together just for, about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Just for these moments, don't care about how your life is about to unfold. Don't care about what's going to happen to you. Don't care about if you'll ever achieve what you want. Just for these moments, like all that stuff can be repicked up afterwards. But when we just drop all those sorts of masks and filters and attachments, everything that makes us who we are as a human being, when we just let go of that, we're almost like a fresh ground for discovery, fresh ground for anything that needs to be discovered or seen. So truly, like, sit through this call today, listen to our conversation today with this sort of approach, you know. Set your personal life aside, almost like you're not even a person listening to this, just almost like you are just uh, like hearing this conversation, but you're not hearing as a somebody hoping to get something from it or get somewhere from it. Like just when if we're to like imagine it, just like see, like pretend like your body's not here, and just listening to the words is happening, but there's no one to gain something out of it, and nothing to happen because of it. And therefore, with that approach, there's also no thinking that needs to be done about what is being said. Just hear whatever is being heard, that's enough. Nothing to be deconstructed. So this is us stepping out of our projected conceptual world into just pure awareness of whatever is currently being registered. And for most of us, it's like the projected conceptual world is all we know. And that's why we are so reluctant to the possibility of something different, something greater that yet cannot be seen. And in the same way, silence is considered the highest teaching because it is a total relinquishing of all that is personal and relinquishing of yourself as a person doing it. It's just setting aside all of that. Acknowledge the mind perhaps interpreting or just offering some sort of commentary right now, and don't need anything from it, don't want anything from it, don't believe in it. When nothing is being said and there's nothing to do, there's an automatic awareness of perhaps some, like the body maybe being fidgety. It wants to move. It wants to do something. It wants to just, readjust. Just become aware of that and don't give in to that. Don't react as that. This itself is a form of meditation, right? Becoming aware of these impulses and these reactions, yet not moving as them, moving with them, just not feeding them. We have this power. Like right now, if you absolutely still your body, you're aware of your body. You're aware of the sensations. Perhaps you're aware of some impulse to move or adjust. You're even aware of the mental discomfort, perhaps like some sort of the mind finding it difficult not to move or not to react. Perhaps the mind wants something, it wants to hear something else. It doesn't want to do this. In the same way that you observe your body's reactions and not give in to them, or the impulses of the body and don't give in to them, see that you can observe the mind also fidgety and all like frustrated and moving about. And you can observe that and not give in to it. See that you are the stillness in which these impulses arise. It's almost like putting the mind in sort of some sort of observation tank where you're just looking at it. Previously, it was out and it was just having a great time, right? It was doing all sorts of things that it wanted to, whatever. But now you're just like putting it in a tank and you're just watching it through the glass. Because we are so often stuck in the projected conceptual world, right? When we are asked to drop it in this way, and when in this conversation that has no relevance, then again you just experience the mind going, then what's the point? Or like what, like this, it feels like this sort of practice is useless or a waste of time. This is the same mind which you are watching in observation right now in the tank of observation. You see it as something other than yourself. So that which resists this stillness, this silence, this emptiness of activity and stimulating conversation is the same mind you're watching in observation right now. It's not, don't take that to be yourself. The body you watch like this in the moments of practice, the mind you watch like this in the moments of practice. So then the question arises, right? Then who are you watching? As what are you watching? As what are you observing? As what are you knowing? Don't let the mind jump on this, right? Because again, the mind again is just right now in the tank of observation. Anything that arises, anything that is being said is in that tank of observation, not who you are, not what you are. And you are not subject to what it says. You are not need to believe in what it says. You don't need to go with what it says. What it says is useless right now, right? Because it's not having a great time out and about. It's currently just in the tank of observations and saying all sorts of things, but don't listen. You know, like in those movies where they like bring the bad guy into the prison, but the bad guy just like keeps talking. He's trying to talk his way out of it, and trying to manipulate the person who's like in charge of watching him. Like, don't fall victim to the cunning strategies of this prisoner right now. Just let it say whatever it's saying, but just it's in the tank of observation. Where we're curious as to what is aware. As what am I aware of this appearance, which I call mind? Is there anything personal about that which is watching, that which is aware? Again, don't give it to your mind. You have to sit with this plainly without any dialogue or conversation, because again, the conversation is in the tank of observation. Is there anything personal about this awareness, knowing, observing? Meaning, is it a person doing it? Is it a thing doing it? Because what we call a person are just right now, right, in the tank of observation, the body and the wide array of thoughts which create your self-image, personality, behaviors, everything. All of this is being observed. So that which is observing, is there anything personal about it? Don't give it to the mind. Just sit with it. If you don't give it to the mind, there you have nowhere to go. When we ask such a question, who am I? Or what is aware? Notice that it is not an intellectual investigation. It is a direct being the awareness. To ask such a question, who am I? You have to go to your direct experience of yourself, not the experience of the body. The body is an experience in you. not the experience of the mind. The mind is something you're aware of. You, the knowing principle itself, that which you experience as I, not the thought I, because even the thought I, you are aware of. So that which before you, the mind says I, is already there, is already present. Go, like this question requires you to go to that and be that. There's nothing to talk about here, right? Because the talking is, again, it's in the tank of observation, not important, not relevant. Any question that arises right now is not important, not real. Let it be. The other day, someone posted in my their community group, right? And they said, "Oh, I didn't know I needed meditation. I thought self-inquiry is enough to sort of help me free myself from this all mental entanglement." Self-inquiry is meditation. You see, it is like the most direct, pure meditation. Self-inquiry is not an intellectual process. There's a very common misunderstanding that when we get into self-inquiry, we fall into that, like, by questioning myself and just seeing, well, I am not this, I'm then labeling, I am not this, I am not that. That is inquiry. But notice that that is being done on a mental level, and it has some sort of relevance. But what self-inquiry really is retaining the mind in the heart of knowing. Fancy words for just the little exercise that we are just doing right now, which is the mind, anything that it says, irrelevant in this moment. Instead, you acknowledging that there's an awareness of it, and you are knowingly just being that knowing, being that awareness, sitting as that. That is stillness, the absence of thought. And thought may certainly arise again with the great momentum it has. However, again, because we in this moment are so, it is in that tank, it's just are irrelevant. So whatever it says is not of relevance to us. Instead, we simply come back to ourself by acknowledging that there's an awareness of even this. But I'm not concerned with what I am aware of right now. I'm curious as to what is aware. Therefore, what I am aware of cannot help me to answer this question. The only thing I have left to do is now just be that which is aware. The whole mental element of this practice then falls off. Then it is just simple abidance, being with yourself, being as yourself. And all your ideas about who you are, about what self inquiry is, about spiritual progress, goals, everything, right? That's just the same mind in the tank, irrelevant right now. So there needs to be moments of absolute absorption in this silent knowing, silent being. Without it, we remain in the conceptual realm without even knowing it, believing that that is life, that that is reality, that is truth. So that which runs away from this, that which claims this is impossible for myself, that which claims that I'm some sort of special case that, it doesn't work for me, is the same thing that we are putting in the tank right now. That is all assumption, irrelevant. Don't take that to be your voice. Don't take that to be what you are, because clearly you are not. Right now, you are that which is aware of it. It is in that tank, irrelevant. Be curious about what is that which is aware of it. And that question cannot be answered on the level of thoughts. So why care about thoughts right now? Silent being. Be as that which is present. Be as that which is aware. The importance of this cannot be understated, right? Because anything else we do is like in the world of shapes and form and appearance. But this is what helps us to dissolve that hypnosis and make us subtle enough to comprehend that which we cannot see, that which is invisible, yet the reality of what we can see. Don't want to confuse you with fancy words. Like the simplest we can keep it is just this dissolving into just silent being, this resting as thoughtless knowing is the practice, the practice. Do it with your eyes closed and then do it with your eyes open all day as much as you can, returning to this. And this is what sort of severs that hypnosis, that identification as what appears. And it is helpful in that way. Anything that, because the mind will keep chattering on, but look at it as that prisoner, right? Which don't be manipulated by the prisoner. Let it be in the prison. You can hear what it says and then just instantly disengage because you are that which is aware of it. Anything it is saying right now is irrelevant. Silent being, silent knowing. It's not something you're doing. It's all you have left when you don't care about the vast world of thought because you've just sort of seen its irrelevance in this moment for this practice, for this question, for this curiosity. When we set that aside, what is there left? It is just this silent knowing. And this is something that I definitely wanted to emphasize today because it's crazy. Like the I was speaking to a lot of people recently, and I always ask them what their practice is. I even actually, in my other free community group, one of the questions that I added to join is, what is your current practice? And you'll be surprised. eh, There's no practice. It's just listening to these sorts of conversations or reading certain things. All that will amount to nothing. All that is just more conceptual baggage. It is only helpful in its capacity to point you towards this silent knowing. And so we can keep running away from that. So that which runs away from it right now is in the prison, is in the tank. We're not caring at all for it. So sometimes it just so happens where, it'll arise in your experience like this, where you are forced into that knowing, where you're forced to sit down and you're forced to sit with the discomfort and forced to just rest as that silent knowing being. But this has to become sort of voluntary. And it quickly does when we do give it that, when we do go into it, when we do give it that significance, because then we finally start to see clearly. Then we find, like, finally clarity is reflected in the mind. Finally, some sort of peace is there at the core of your from where you live life. And then it really starts to be seen clearly. Like, first someone has to tell us that, like, okay, you have to, like, you can't do that with mind. You can't get there with mind. You can't understand with mind. So then we trust that. And then when we really, as we start resting in that more and more, um, it's just clearly seen that, yeah, there's nothing of value, at least when it pertains to this question, nothing of value in the mind. And notice how every single fear that you have, every single anxiousness, all that negativity, um, judgment, everything that basically feels bad about life requires you to stay in your conceptual world. But when you just put that conceptual world on pause and you really stick to this practice, then, like, being afraid itself, like, of like the conceptual fear. I'm not talking about, like, in the moment something happens and the fear arises, but, like, I'm talking about there's just a conceptual rumination about what's going to happen. Am I going to be okay? Like, there's no room for that. That it's not possible. Anxiety about the future is not possible. Living in trust is then inevitable. It's not even something you do. It's just something you have to do. You just fall into. So in a way, melting into this silent knowing, silent being, has that slow brewing effect, right? Which is like the gradual disassociation from that which you are aware of, from that which appears, and ever deeper establishment into the nameless, the formless. But it has immediate fruit because it's like the sword that cuts through suffering, but it needs to be committed to. And there's no, it doesn't work for me because it's like you have to continuously get yourself to see that anything you feel like is holding you back from from this melting into silent knowing is something you are aware of. It's that thing that we have put in the prison, in the cage of observation. It Nothing that you are aware of, nothing that is happening can hold you back from that. You know what I mean? Like, uh, see anything that you feel like is the obstacle to this when you sit down and you try to do this, try to practice this. See what is the obstacle. Anything that you speak of, watch, it's going to be something that we have just put aside. We have just stated to put aside. We have just stated that it is that prisoner. Don't listen to it. The problem is you keep listening to it, or the problem is that like we keep going with that. And the only solution to that is continuously see that it is not something you have to entertain, that we can, truly have it in that cage where it is absolutely irrelevant for this moment, for this time of practice. And then see what obstacle you're having. Because any obstacle that we feel like we are having is entirely conceptual, is entirely just mind stuff. So if you feel like you have some sort of unique obstacle keeping you from this, please state it, and then we'll go through it. Nathan said, I see that most thoughts that are coming into awareness are actually quite helpful as I recognize it's not me and the mind is generally quiet. Yeah, so and I'm not sure exactly if this is what you mean, but like in the moments of practice, the thoughts that do arise are helpful in this way because they continuously help us see that I am not moving, but the thoughts are moving. I am not coming into it and going out of being. I am, and the thoughts are arising and subsiding. In seeing this, we are automatically, not on purpose, but automatically, without effort, being established as that witnessing, that impersonal seeing in which these appearances are happening. So in that way, in the moments of practice, even the thoughts that we say are obstacles are actually just helping us uh, become more established in this understanding. That's why self inquiry is so direct. It is so beautiful because it really cuts to it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was of help to you. I just wanted to come on here and quickly, before you leave, mention that right now I'm looking for 5 individuals who want to really commit to dissolving mind identification and becoming free from mental and emotional suffering within the next 60 days. If you feel you're too gripped by your mind right now, if you feel like you want to go deeper into spiritual practice, I want to help you. And I know that I can be of incredible help to you. So if that is you, if you feel you're interested in this, take action. You can click the link down below, learn more about my School of Awakening, and book a free call with me. And then I could see, how I can help you. Or you can send me an email at support@personalmasteryquest.com. Either way, I want you to get the help that you need. Currently, I'm looking for 5 individuals and to help them transform this entire practice and dissolve mind identification and become free from all this mental entanglement. So if that's you, if you're interested, the link is down below. Other than that, I will see you next time. Take care.